Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be covering an exponential regression fit to the HEX price. Remember, if you like this kind of content, leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you're new, and let's go ahead and dive into this analysis. This will be a fun one. So whenever you look at price or any data for that matter on a logarithmic scale, so you see bottom right here, we have log pressed. It's essentially to crunch down data, and this helps a lot for actually visualizing moves when you're dealing with data that increases very fast. Something like cryptocurrency is often looked at on a logarithmic scale because, for example, if you look at it on a regular linear scale, it looks something like this. So you lose a lot of resolution, for example, in this area, when in reality, by looking at it at a log scale, you see there was a lot going on and you were able to achieve these multiples just the same back here. And that's because these multiples are scaled relative to each other rather than it being a linear scale. So I won't get too much into it. However, I will have you know that a lot of the HEX community has charted something like this, and you can probably tell why, because it's essentially a line on a logarithmic scale that has never really been breached for a prolonged period of time. So for example, look at linear data, you see we've pretty much held its support every single time we've touched it. And whenever you change to a linear scale again, you actually lose what that line means, and you see it turns into something like this. And that's because here on this sort of software, it doesn't translate your line into an actual exponential curve, which is what you're doing here. So we went ahead and did this in our Google Sheet, okay? So what we essentially did was we gathered, let me see if I can show you this. Here, let's just do it over again, okay? So let's get our brush tool. Where is that again? Help me out, guys. Did I skip it? There it is, brush tool. And we essentially took these regions here of support, and since we have our spreadsheet of data, I used these four regions to gather these clusters of data. And then what we did is we manually fitted a line to this data. And we use this little trick here for linear regression, but by taking the natural log of the price data before doing a linear regression, we were actually able to get coefficients for an exponential regression. So I know it's a little bit mathy, but bear with me here, we're almost to the good stuff. So once we got these clusters of data, we essentially, this is the fit we get on a linear scale, okay? And you can see, for example, here, when we change to a regular scale, as I showed you earlier, you still just get a line, right? It doesn't capture the resolution of what something like this. This is what you're actually plotting when you plot a line on a logarithmic scale, is this. This is what you're actually plotting. That's why I'm calling this an exponential fit. And here we have both average HEX price as well as price lows. So you can see that it has held as support, and we have gone beneath it a few times as well. So again, looking at it on a linear scale can be intimidating. So let's go ahead and look at it on our good old logarithmic scale. And you can see that it pretty much is identical to what we plotted over here, right? Capturing support in these four clusters, these four regions, once, twice, 3, and 4 times over here. So once we have this, let's go ahead and add some tolerance to it in the upper direction, right? So add some bands to it, so to speak, because this is a support region, but we've gone above it, right? We've clearly gone above it. By how much? Well, I actually need to change this title here. Price extension from exponential fit, which is what this is. Right? We simply took the actual price of HEX on any given day, divided it by the the projected fit with this exponential regression, and you get something like this. So we've been as far as 11x above it, and then this one level pretty much indicates our thesis, our premise is that it's support, right? The one level is equivalence. So it's actually hitting the line, so to speak. So again, we've gone up almost 12x, and over here, 24x. So we can apply some upper tolerance to this exponential fit with that 24 multiple that we just got. So pretty much we have our support right here. Here I need to update these as well. I'll do that later, okay? So we added some tolerance here, and it looks a bit messy on the linear chart, but what it looks like on our logarithmic scale is something more like this, where we reached this upper band in the past, and essentially we've never gone back to it since about May of last year. We've also reached this orange level of tolerance as well, but as you can see, in the not so distant future, these exponential fits cross the dollar region as early as day, what does it say over here, as early as, for example, if we were to reach this blue band again on day 580, however, if we never reach that again, we can still reach potential price of $1 per hex, day 677. If we were to reach it on this green band, it could be day 765, right? So in the next year or so, is $1 hex possible? I mean, I don't see why not, because we've held this exponential fit for the most part. And again, even if we don't go back all the way up to this upper band, even if we just reach the orange band, that's still relatively soon, right? And then we might form new support maybe on a lower band at some point in the future, because obviously we can't just keep going exponential forever. I mean, unless we can. I don't think so though. So with that said, this has been kind of a more math-oriented technical video. So if you did follow along, please let me know. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, if I should really change anything. And I know here on the legend, I kind of not misspoke, but rather mistyped here. If you can read what it says, these should actually read something like level 1, level 2, level 3, or something like that. I'm tired. I'll edit that later, but I just wanted to show you guys this. If you ever want any of these charts, feel free to DM me on Twitter. Link in the description below. Follow, subscribe if you're new, and again, leave a thumbs up. I appreciate you watching. I'm going to bed. Peace.